Son accidentally broke my dad's favorite vase. He refused replacement but won't stop complaining and got mad even I bought a new one. When I was a teen, my dad bought a big glass vase and put wine corks in it. It sat on top of a small table in the living room for years. Every month my family goes to lunch with him. The vase broke when my son was running around my dad's living room in October of last year. He accidentally knocked over the table. I said I was sorry right away and offered to buy a new vase. My husband and I also cleaned up. At the time my dad turned down my offer to replace it. He said that he knew it was a mistake and was glad that my son wasn't hurt. I think he was 2 years old. There was a lot of glass on the floor. I apologized multiple times over the course of the subsequent few months and offered to pay for a new vase on multiple occasions. My father insisted that everything would be fine. Towards the end of the previous year, however, my father began to talk about how much he cherished the cork vase and how expensive it was when he first purchased it. As time went on, he continued to struggle with an increasing number of problems. One of the things that he would remark was that whenever we came over, my son would frequently break the vase. There were also times when he would joke that we ought to give him more time to conceal his jewels from my child when we came to visit. We went to the party he threw at his house last week. His friend, who hadn't been over in a while, saw that the vase was gone and asked what happened. My dad told me that my little brother broke it and I hadn't fixed it. My husband was close and could hear it. When I saw my dad after the party, we got into a fight. His response was that he had the right to be angry that my son had broken his things. I told him he was mad, but the fact that he turned down my offer to buy him a new vase did not give him the right to complain that I didn't do it. He can either take back his forgiveness and make things right with me, or he can take his mind off the vase and stop blaming my kid for the accident. He can't call my son names about this. I'm still being told by my dad that I'm wrong. To begin, one of the commenters suggested that the solution would be to purchase a vase for each and every holiday and event, including Father's Day, his birthday, Christmas, and every other holiday. They proposed that he be purchased with such a large quantity of vases that he would finally desire that he had never before seen another vase. It has been resolved. In response, another commenter stated that they believed that person's way of thinking was wonderful. Edit to add. You could also get your father a bottle of wine and an empty box to assist him deal with his crotch. This would be an additional recommendation. Put the cork back into the vase when you go to the very next gathering. Demonstrate the number of times you had to drink in order to overcome his complaining. A second commenter then contributed a similar idea, stating that they were considering purchasing a new vase and some champagne, and then popping the cork in such a way that it would hit the vase and cause it to shatter once more. Moreover, one commenter stated that OP was not the A, emphasizing that OP's son was just a toddler doing typical toddler things. They argued that OP's father should have toddler-proofed the house. OP had already offered to pay for a new vase, but her father declined, so he should not be complaining now. The commenter added that they always found it bizarre to collect and display wine corks as if saying, "Hey, look at how much I drink, everyone." Another commenter took a different stance, pointing out that it depends on how the wine cork collection is done. They shared that their in-laws pop a bottle of champagne during momentous occasions, such as big birthdays, anniversaries, and graduations. They keep the cork and write the occasion on it, which they believe is a nice way to see all the causes for celebration over the years. Furthermore, one commenter blamed both the parents and OP's father for the situation, stating that they were not allowed to run around in other people's homes when they were younger. They questioned why OP did not just buy a new vase. The commenter shared their own experience of their dog breaking their dad's glass water bottle, which was special and cost $100. Although the dad said not to worry, the commenter found the same bottle and shipped it to him, making him very happy. They concluded by stating that children should learn boundaries and that OP's father was wrong for complaining, but OP also should have just replaced the vase. Another user agreed and asked why the OP didn't just buy a new vase when her child broke the old one. They said that she shouldn't have asked if she had to replace it because any normal person would have just done it. Like what was said above, someone else said that they would have replaced the vase even if OP's father had said no at first after hearing him complain once. So if he did complain, they could quickly point to the one they gave him instead. OP then commented, explaining her perspective because the previous comment was the most upvoted. She clarified that she does not allow her toddler to freely run around people's homes. In this specific incident, her son started running around just seconds before the accident happened, and she was not quick enough to stop him. In subsequent visits, including those to her father, she and her husband managed to stop him sooner. OP emphasized that her son is generally a quiet child, so this behavior was not common. She also mentioned that she offered to replace the vase multiple times on the day of the incident, but her father refused, so she did not buy one. After his refusal, She had no reason to believe her father still wanted her to replace the vase. If someone made her a similar offer and she declined, she would not expect them to follow through, nor would she blame them for not doing so. OP provided an explanation as to why this has become a problem lately in response to a comment that was deleted. She made the observation that she had not brought up the vase in several months and that her father was the only one who broached the subject. The only reason she was getting engaged at this point was because his insults were growing worse and more regular and she was getting interested. Last but not least, a different commenter inquired about the age of the OP's father, bringing up the fact that dementia can be associated with increased aggression and behavioral changes. Her father is 60 years old, according to the response from OP. Update. I've chosen to offer to buy my dad a new vase again after reading your comments. I made it clear to him that this was the last time I would offer that. He wouldn't be able to see my son until he settled down if he said no and kept complaining about it. He finally agreed. The shop where he bought the first vase no longer exists, so I began to look into it. It looked a lot like the one I saw at a nearby furniture shop. I knew they were good because I had bought pots from them before. We had our monthly lunch at my dad's house on Saturday, which was a good time to give him the new vase. At the time, he seemed thankful, and it was cute when he and my son filled it up with corks. I thought this was done, but my dad called me the next day. He looked up the new vase online and saw that it wasn't as expensive as he thought it would be. He then asked, "Are you sure this is the best you could find?" That's when I told him, fuck it, I'm done with his passive aggressiveness. I told my dad that we aren't going to his house for anything anymore. He can come to our house if he wants to see my family. He said no, but I stood my ground. My dad never said what he wanted, but he still whined about how things turned out. People have been calling my family bad enough, and I don't want this to happen to my son even more than it has already. That's where we are now. If my dad doesn't want to drive to my house, I don't know if our monthly lunches will continue. I love my dad, but I'm really upset with him right now. If all of this means I won't see him as much for a while, I might be okay with that. We might benefit from the time apart. The connection between my son and his grandfather is what worries me the most, and I will do what I can to help it grow. The price of the vase I got is about $100. I don't live in the US. My dad told me he doesn't remember how much the original cost, but that it was more than that. He wasn't attached to the vase either, he was only attached to the corks that were inside it, which he was able to save. I'm sure that the new vase is good. Comments. To begin with, one commenter expressed that OP was definitely not the A. They remarked that unless the new vase was obviously of poor quality, which did not seem to be the case from OP's description, the father's behavior was bizarrely ridiculous. They felt that OP had already taken the best possible action to resolve the issue and suggested that it was now up to her father to humble himself. In response, OP mentioned that she did not regret buying the vase but emphasized that she had done her part. She added that she would never have reacted the way her father did and was very confident about the quality of the vase. Next, another commenter also agreed that OP was not the A. They pointed out that while her father claimed to be over it, he kept bringing it up repeatedly, comparing it to someone doing a favor and never letting you forget it. They questioned whether that person truly did you a favor if they constantly remind you of it. The commenter noted that her father seemed fine with the vase until he looked up the price, and they found it astonishing that the price of the vase had become more important to him than maintaining a relationship with his grandchild. They concluded that OP's child was better off not being exposed to such pettiness and unnecessary drama. Additionally, another commenter reiterated that OP was not the A too. They found it baffling that her father had looked up the new vase online, noticed it was less expensive than he expected, and then complained about it. They questioned who would do that to a family member after they had done their best to make things right. OP responded by sharing her concern that her son's relationship with his grandfather was her greatest priority, and she would continue to encourage it. The commenter agreed with OP's efforts but added that her father needed to recognize what was truly important and make an effort to improve the situation. OP acknowledged this, expressing hope that her father would come around. She mentioned that she had grown up distant from her grandparents and had always wanted her child to be closer to his family. However, she also recognized that it was her father's responsibility to make a genuine effort in this situation. In addition, a commenter recommended the original poster to take precautions to prevent her son from becoming the object of her grandfather's jokes, such as being referred to as the little troublemaker who breaks things. They issued a warning that something that had the potential to be a humorous family story could have a long-lasting and detrimental effect on the youngster. In addition, another commenter shared a personal experience, recalling how they were made to feel terrible for losing the pitch pipe that came with their great-grandfather's violin. They described how their father was essentially disowned by his mother over a $4 item that could easily be replaced on eBay. The commenter related this to OP's situation and how seemingly small incidents could lead to significant emotional harm. Moreover, another commenter introduced a different perspective by suggesting that OP consider the possibility that her father might be experiencing early signs of dementia. They explained that dementia patients often fixate on things and ask repetitive questions, which could explain her father's behavior. They recommended getting him into treatment as early as possible to slow the progression of the disease. Lastly, another commenter shared their frustration, stating that they knew people like OP's father who are never satisfied with any solution and simply want to complain to be the center of attention. They found this exhausting and expressed relief that OP was taking a step back from the situation. Additionally, another person agreed, saying that they could see the signs of such behavior immediately, having encountered similar people before. They noted that the father had even lied at his own party, claiming that OP never offered to replace the vase, which further revealed his tendency to complain and seek attention.
Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.